Good morning. It's Wednesday, July 21st. 21st. I'm going to talk about an issue that came up when my two oldest kids were young, and it's actually a fundamental issue in our society. And that is the question, who told you to want that? And this would come up, they were in elementary school, and, like most kids, they would, see things on TV or hear about things at school from other kids, and they'd want to own it. And we didn't have much money. So I didn't want to be in a position of saying no all the time. That would not have been good for them psychologically. But I had to say no to them a lot. And one way to do that was to get them to cross-examine their reasons for wanting something. And this comes up obviously for everybody in our culture because there are all these advertisers out there, trying to trick you into spending money on things you didn't need. And this comes up as an artist too. Okay, so if you're in a shared studio, you're sort of at the mercy of the equipment that the shared studio provides. But you can also end up getting addicted to certain tools. And then when you set up your own studio, you feel the absence of them. For instance, slab rollers or extruders, or obviously people who want to own their own wheel and so forth. Owning your own kiln can be one of these issues because then it's like, well, how big a kiln do I want? And obviously the larger ones cost more, they take more space, they draw more electricity. So why do I want a large one? Do I make large pots? Do I make a large volume of pots, say, in a given week? Do I want to fire less frequently? I mean, there's a version where a small kiln would do fine, but I don't want to have to fire every week or 2 weeks. I would rather take a month to load the kiln, fire it once, so forth. There's a rhythm issue to it, which could also work in reverse. If your kiln is too large and it takes too long to fill it and you're impatient, you're more likely to fire it partially full, which is not a great thing to do either economically or for the quality of the glaze firing. So in my own situation, I've never had the room for a slab roller, and I've never needed a slab roller. Okay, when I make slabs, I use this paddle on a canvas covered plywood board, and I make it. I mean, you can do it with a rolling pin and a couple of dowels to set the thickness. There are a lot of ways to cross-examine the question of why do I want this thing that'll cost money and take up space. Maybe space isn't an issue. I can think of one occasion, Roberta Lampert, who forked out the money for a de-airing pug mill. I've never even owned a clay mixer, much less a de-airing pug mill. But she was works out in Portland and hand builder, and is not a huge person. It's not a very muscular person. So she was investing in her own physical health by having a de-airing pug mill. She was going to reduce or eliminate her need to wedge. And she figured it would add 10 years to her career. I haven't actually questioned her on it. Okay, so she's got really good reasons to spend that money. And I guess that's what I'm counseling here, is if you're contemplating a purchase, maybe it's a Maserati, I don't know. Do you have more than one reason? And if you only have one reason, how did that reason get into your head? What is it about doing that makes it seem like it makes sense? So like right now we're getting ready to spend a lot of money on foundation repair. And it's not that the foundation's horrible, and we're old enough we could conceivably let it go. But there's never been a foundation anywhere that fixed itself. So it's going to be somebody's problem. And we'd like to actually add on to the house so that we can do more things on one floor as we get older. Well, we're not going to do that on a house that's got a defective foundation. So first we fix the foundation, and then we do an addition, and then we're in a better position to continue working into our 70s and 80s. We have multiple reasons. And generally, any good idea, you'll be able to come up with a list of multiple reasons of why it's a good idea, whether in elementary school or not. Have a good day.